All right, so first off, who are you?
I'm Jordan. I'm a freshman.
I'm Sarah. I'm a sophomore.
Carmela, I'm a sophomore.
Good, good. Okay. How do y'all identify?
I identify as Black.
Latinx.
Black.
Okay. So, do you remember how you felt when you first stepped onto campus?
Kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why did you feel uncomfortable?
Because it felt like you were the only one there, like, that looked a certain way.
Well, before I saw people of color in my dorm, I definitely felt uncomfortable. There are not many of us last year in our dorm.
I don't know. I feel like everybody looked the same in my grade. Like, everybody came in and they were kind of just like these like certain types of people. And then it was me and I was like,
I stepped foot into my dorm and I was one of 2 people of color. So I was like,
So, even in your dorm, you didn't feel like you had a place you could identify with?
Yeah, most definitely.
Got it. So, who did you gravitate to when you first came onto campus?
I felt like I just gravitated towards like people I felt comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that were very open.
And how did you find those people? You just...
I kind of just like went around and just like they just came.
So
like,
did that take a long time?
Most definitely. Like it's still like an ongoing process.
yeah. I gravitated towards one of the only other people of color in my grade, and it didn't turn out great. So I think like I'm still trying to find who I really like identify with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. So when you first came onto campus, what forms of support were you told were there for you or were available to you?
I feel like they told us because we roomed with other people of color for my year that it would be easier for you because you have that space where you could identify with someone else, but I don't feel like for me that was true.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just was like, my half of the room, you know, that's my space. Her half of the room, that's her space.
Yeah.
So did you feel like, I'm hearing from the both of y'all that y'all felt like oftentimes people put you two together because you're both of the same color and they expect your race to automatically mean that you'll get along and you'll identify with each other.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's more the case more than not, or do you feel like oftentimes that's not the case at all?
I feel like they had the right intentions when doing it, but I don't feel like it was a good idea.
I feel like they were trying to make everybody feel as comfortable as they can, so they tried to put them with someone that looked like them or came from somewhat of a similar background or location. But sometimes it just didn't work out. Like, you weren't.
Well, my roommate is white, so they didn't put me with somebody who looked like me. So I was told I could talk to like Mr. Nas, Miss Williams. I already knew Amber, so she told me like people I could talk to. But
And did you feel like that form of support, Mr. Nas and Miss Williams, were readily available to you?
yes, because I see Miss Williams like every day. So
Dance team,
Yeah.
okay. So how did you ever find your people at Tabor?
Like Sarah said, it's an ongoing process.
Yeah. I feel like I have my people, but I definitely want to expand. Like, I don't want to stay within the same friend group my entire time here because
I
there's
feel
no
like,
point in doing that.
Because like the amount of people of color in your grade is so low, you tend to gravitate toward like upperclassmen. You know, they leave, new people come in. Like it's an ongoing process.
I remember crying after the seniors left.
Yeah,
in
and
my
now I'm
grade.
going to be crying next year. Just like,
I feel like I've just finally started to hang out with, like Carmela said, like the upperclassmen who look like me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of bad because now they're leaving, so I'm not sure. Like, I feel like I will from my group, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
Got it. Do you feel like you've had to compromise who you were in order to make friends or to fit in?
Yes.
Yeah, I seem like y'all have a lot to say on that. Okay.
I mean, not with my friends, but like for other people that I talk to, like in my classes, definitely.
Mm-hmm. So
Like-
in what ways?
I mean, the way I talk, the way I look, it's just, you have to figure out a certain way of like presenting yourself.
Being yourself enough to be
Yeah.
accepted, but still taking away the
And
things
that was
aren't.
hard. Like last year, I definitely struggled with that. Like I couldn't find the balance between being myself and trying to be like this other person. But I feel like I'm doing better this year. I'm trying to stay to who I am.
I feel like it's kind of taking a toll on who I am as a person. Like, I don't know, like, I do know what my identity is, but I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by not, like, showing it all the time. But I still can't, like, be my true self here, or at least I feel like I can't. Like, I even dress different, I talk different. And
I have a whole nother wardrobe at home.
Yeah.
A whole nother wardrobe.
Like, I started wearing Lululemon, like, it's just...
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I don't even
It's
know.
like, yeah.
I feel like when you're outside of your room or outside of the place you identify in, you, like, carry all this baggage, but when you go inside your room, it's like, how do you transition from that? And how do you, like, I just feel like you lose yourself in some way.
Yeah.
So in what way, like, how would students or faculty or school culture help you? In what ways would make you feel like you could leave your room and be yourself? Like, you didn't have to talk differently, you didn't have to dress differently, you don't need a whole nother wardrobe at home. Like, what forms of support, what would you need?
I honestly thought that question over a lot, and I still do. I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I just feel like it's something that, like, I don't know. I feel like you can't fix the culture at Tabor because that's just how it is. But I feel like through time, maybe, like, it'll be more accepting to people of color, but I don't feel like it's a change you can make from one year to the other.
Yeah, I feel like it's just something that comes along with being a person of color, like at any prep school, like even private schools in Atlanta. I know people dress and talk different, like just the same way they do here. So I feel like it just comes with going to a place where you're one of the only people who look like you.
Okay, so lastly, I want you guys to speak a little bit on your relationship with the girls of color as a whole.
I think that girls of color, like, are kind of really open to each other because we share similar experiences. Like I said, I don't feel like boys of color do, but I feel like if you were to go to the dining hall and, like, you want to sit down and have lunch with someone, you can definitely rely on, like, sitting with a person of color, a girl, and having to, like, a good dinner, you know, a good breakfast. I feel like we're more open to other people of color because we know, like, what it feels like to not be accepted at Tabor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that close a relationship with most of, like, the girls of color that are in the upper class. But, like, I try and, you know, build a relationship with the people of color in, like, the lower class and, like, try and be, like, a role model like y'all were for us, and kind of just, like, bring them in and just, you know, accept everybody and not just, like, try and have, like, a certain table for just, like, people of color and just make them feel comfortable, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with the girls of color. I should probably, like, talk to them more because I just don't. I don't know. Like, I feel comfortable with them, more comfortable than I do most of the time at this school, but it's like, yeah, I think I have a pretty good relationship, but it's also really different for the boys of color. So it's just easier to relate to all the girls of color here.
Got it. So, have you guys ever had any experience where a non-person of color has vouched for you or stood up for you or validated you?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
most of my, well, not most of them, but a majority of my friends, like, in my friend group are white, and they have certain, like, viewpoints on, like, how we're treated here. And I think they're definitely more, they vouch for me a lot, definitely. They vouch for our group a lot, because we do have, like, women of color in our group, and sometimes when we feel uncomfortable, they try and, like, you know, put us out there and just, you know, like, make sure that people don't mess with us, or if somebody says something, then they're the first people to go up to them and be like, you guys need to stop, like, that's not right.
Must be nice.
Yeah, I think that when you develop a friend group of, like, not only colored women and men, but also white people, you kind of realize that when they do see, like, the treatment that you're receiving, that you know that you're not alone in seeing that. It's kind of comforting to know that, like, what I'm going through, it's not just in my head, you know. a lot of times at Tabor, when you want to talk about like treatment among race, people kind of take it as, oh, we hate white people, but like when white people themselves like stand up and they say like we see it too, like it's really comforting.
Yeah, the white person I'm closest to at this school is my roommate, and she's vouched for me a lot this year, and she just makes me feel like very comfortable. And like,
that's good.
Even if people like say the N-word, she cares more than I do. Like, I'm kind of used to it, but she'll like go up to them and like say something. So yeah.
Okay. Do you guys notice a difference of treatment between the boys of color and the girls of color?
Oh,
Definitely.
Yes.
For sure.
Spill the tea, please.
Okay. A lot of girls here like to, latch on to a lot of men of color here. And
it's not just you see it and it's like, oh, she likes men of color. It's like,
it's like she only...
They say it. Like,
she's they just gravitate towards them. And they don't even...
It's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's just
like
for bastardization.
Yeah, I feel like that in itself is racism at Tabor.
Yeah, and it's not even just like it's not just like black and Hispanic women. It's Asian women too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just every woman of color. Like, they're just fetishized by.
I should say that first.
Or even just men of color. Definitely here.
Yeah.
Like, they just latch onto them and they're like, oh my god, like, it's this black guy or this Hispanic guy. Like, this is so new to me.
Yeah.
And they only stick to that.
They see something new and they just like fawn all over it.
Like,
but it's like the boys, you wouldn't hardly ever catch a white boy like going after a girl of color. But it's like all the white girls are all over the boys of color, and it's just
so
annoying.
would you say that black girls are at the bottom of the food chain?
Yes. It gets to the point where even the boys of color don't really want to, like, it's not that they don't want to talk to the girls of color, but it's that they have all of this attention from the white girls, and it's like, oh, I'm getting attention from them, like, why would I come to you? So
and not only that, I feel like depending on the tone of your skin, it's way different. I feel like the darker girls, they're at the bottom.
Colorism is real at Tabor.
Like, you're more likely to have a boy go after you if you're lighter
or say, if you say you're pretty, or compare you to another person, like, you're so much
and I understand that there's like
skin,
preference and like racial preference, which I don't believe in, but I feel like at Tabor, like, a lot of girls, white girls specifically, say like, oh, I want mixed babies. That's a really common phrase among white girls.
It's like, I want a mixed baby, I want this, I want that. Like,
mixed
but then you don't want to deal with the repercussions of like what your husband or your boyfriend's gonna go through, like, in life,
and what your child might go through. They don't care about that. They want a baby with curly hair, light skin, like green eyes. Like, it's just
they just imagine what their family's gonna look like, and they're just like, I want this mixed baby.
It's not it.
It's not it. It's
not cute.
And then women of color just looked at as like, y'all are too loud, like, y'all are too much.
And I feel like there's nothing you can do to change that. That's one thing that I definitely feel like I don't see changing.
I feel like it stayed the same. Like,
And what do you think that culture of the white boys loving white boys and the black boys loving white girls and the white girls loving black boys, like, what do you think that does to the women of color on campus?
It makes them feel lesser.
It lowers your confidence like so much, and it's just like you start to think like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why are people going after this one girl? And like,
what does she have that I don't?
Like, our skin tone is the same. Like, why don't we have the same treatment? I feel like the black people, the black boys at Tabor definitely have it easier than the girls.
In what sense?
I feel like if you're a black kid at Tabor, if you're a black boy and you play basketball, you're set.
Like, everyone wants to be your friend.
It doesn't even matter, like, or even if you just like play football, like they're all over you. If you're an athlete, you don't even have to be like built. If you play a sport, and you're black,
you gotta play a sport.
Be built. You don't have to be cute either. Like, they're gonna go after you.
You could be any skin tone.
You're black and athletic. Like,
they're like, wow,
they definitely like
that skin.
Even the dark boys, they're like, oh my god, like, I love his skin. But they see a dark girl and they're like,
why
I don't know about that.
She looks like dirt. Like,
All right, y'all.
So, can you guys speak a little bit on the relationship with the boys of color on campus and the girls of color on campus?
I feel like it's rare to have a good relationship with boys of color. Mm-hmm. It's not often.
It's not rare.
No, it's not often.
Like,
yeah.
You just have to make an effort to establish a relationship with them.
But as a whole, do you think that the boys and the girls are they have a detrimental relationship? They're friends. They're acquaintances. Like what's going on?
I feel like they're just acquaintances.
Yeah, I feel like no. I feel like it's friends. But I think that when they do see the treatment of women of color at Tabor, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
They don't know how to
ignore it.
Because they ignore it. 2, they don't know what to do with it. Or 3, they just like, oh well,
that's not my problem.
And I feel like they think they're probably gonna get treated how we get treated if they stand up for us. So they're like, I'd rather keep like my popularity than like help you out. Like you can figure it out on your own.
They rather stay where they are right now than deal with all the issues.
Sit comfortable, like they're held on a pedestal here, pretty. Like, but even if they're probably not gonna come to your defense. It's really not.
So. Lastly, if y'all had like a perfect vision of Tabor for girls of color, what would that look like?
I need a minute on that one.
I
think you kept on.
I don't know. I just feel like it's so hard to have like this perfect vision because you can just imagine just everybody being with everybody and just like nobody really. Like, everybody sees the difference, but, like, nobody really cares. Like, everybody's just chill with everybody. But that's not what's ever gonna happen. I don't like that's the perfect vision.
Mm-hmm. Like, everyone coming from different backgrounds and, like, recognizing those differences. But
everyone being, like, open-minded. And willing to hear you out instead of, like, base things on stereotypes. But I don't think.
Okay, so since the perfect vision is too perfect to actually achieve, if there's one thing, the number one thing you would change about your experience here, your time here, the way you felt here, what would it be?
Would I change? I don't know. I feel like I would just change the relationship between women of color and men of color. Like, that's it. Yeah. I feel like you're never gonna have all these people, like, vouching for you and, like, fighting for you if they're not your same race or they don't have the same, like, cultural background or they don't go through the same things as you. But I feel like if there was a relationship, a good relationship, then it would be somewhat, I think it would be attainable.
I agree with that. Having more boys of color be considered friends because I know Carmela said like she considers it a friendship, but I definitely consider it like acquaintances. Like,
I did too.
I barely talk to them, and I feel like it would just be better if all of us made an effort to be better friends with each other.
Because we all go through, like, we don't all go through the same things, but at the end of the day, we're all looked at the same. Like, we're all put in this certain place at Tabor, so we might as well just stick together because we have each other for 4 years and then that's it.
I agree. All right, y'all. Thank you for coming on my talk show.